Welcome back to my channel. My name is Katie Edwards Campbell with the Katie Campbell Network, and this is still Frauds and Fines. In this week, I wanted to talk about Sheng-Wen Cheng. I hope I didn't butcher the name, but he's the guy we're talking about today. And I just want to continue to tell you guys, thank you all for the support. I really love the love. I'm reading all the comments. Some of them are cracking me up. Some of you, I gotta be like, be careful what you comment out here. This is the internet. It stays forever. But lots of humor show up in the comments. I thank you guys for subscribing. Please continue to tell your friends and family about the channel and about our content. So really excited. Now let's get into this week. I know you guys don't like the long episodes, so I'm gonna try and make it quick because this guy has a double whammy, right? So Sheng-Wen Cheng, aka Justin Cheng, aka Justin Jung, guy got a lot of names, okay? He's a Taiwanese national residing in New York, and he was charged for a fraudulent scheme to obtain over $7 million in PPP and EIDL loans. So he basically came to the U.S., he was a student and considered himself a serial entrepreneur. He earned a bachelor's degree from Pennsylvania State University, and from at least April 2020 to around August 13th, 2020, he appears to have used the identities of other individuals to submit online applications to the SBA and at least 5 financial institutions for a total of over $7 million in the PPP and EIDL loan programs, right? So he applied for $7 million, and I think he only got around $2.8 million. So he ran multiple companies. So a few of them were Alchemy Finance Inc., Alchemy Guarantor LLC. It was a DBA Seller Offer or Celery Network Inc., Celery Treasury LLC, and Winston York. So I did look up Celery, and I don't know if like the website is still active now, but I saw an interview where like this journalist was interviewing him for being the CEO of Celery. And funny enough, they're supposed to be a company that gives loans to other companies, right? So this interview was sometime last year in June, and he was just stating like he felt so good to be able to provide PPP loans to customers, like other businesses who needed the loans. So be careful because, sometimes you're asking these folks to apply for the loan on behalf of you, and you don't really know what they're putting on the application, right? So you have to be careful because this is where you get into trouble. So he knew a way around the system, and so he was getting like thousands of business owners loans, right? So in connection with the loan applications, individuals were the sole owners of Cheng companies, and he explained that he had over 200 employees and paid like approximately $1.5 million in wages to these employees on a monthly basis, right? When they did the investigation, so this was after he got the loan, it appeared that he only had no more than 14 employees. So here we go again, like folks so I think that's like the glitch. It's the number of employees that allows them to like mess with the amount of money like they can receive initially. And so like here we see him doing the same thing. So in order to support the false representation in the loan application, he put a number of employees and wages paid so he put like that there were 200 employees, and then he had to put like a total amount for wages paid, right? The problem with that is if it doesn't exist, like he has to make it up. So they're saying like he submitted fraudulent and doctored tax records that were never filed with the IRS. Come on, the IRS is where you pay like those payroll taxes and you submit those payroll forms from the entity. If you lie, eventually when they check, they will know, because whatever you've submitted in the past does not match what you're submitting. So the payroll records he submitted contained a forged electronic signature of a payroll company employee. So apparently he probably uses a payroll company and he forged that person's signature. He submitted a payroll summary for one of his companies that listed the names of more than 90 employees, right? Several of whom are current or former athletes, artists, actors, and public figures. For example, the list of purported employee names included a co-anchor on Good Morning America. So, homeboy was just like going around and picking up random names and putting them as employees. So he must have been watching Good Morning America and he was like, let me just squeeze this anchor name in here because I got a slot, right? You know, it's like, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Like, who am I going to use today, right? So he had a former National Football League player, so someone from the NFL, a prominent Penn State football coach who's now deceased. He put that guy's name on there. So based on the loan applications he submitted, so he was trying to get, so it was he submitted around like 3.7 million in PPP loans, and he was approved for 2.8 million. So they don't state here like about the EIDL loan. So I guess that would be the other bulk of what made up that 7 million he applied for. But on the PPP side, it was 3.7 million and he got a cut of 2.8. So the proceeds were deposited into the bank accounts, which is controlled by him. And then based on the bank records, instead of using it for payroll costs, mortgage interest, rent, or utilities, he used a portion of the 2.8 million as follows. Approximately 881,000 was transferred to accounts to different individuals and entities at banks in Taiwan, the UK, South Korea, and Singapore. He sent $360,000 of the proceeds. He just withdrew that in cashier checks and cash. So once he withdrew it, like they don't know what happened to it. There's no way to reclaim that. A total of at least 279,000 in PPP funds was spent on personal expenses. So he got an 18 karat gold Rolex watch for approximately $40,000. He had rent and move-in fees for $17,000 per month for a luxury condo. $50,000 in furnishings for the luxury condo. At least $80,000 towards the purchase of a 2020 S560X4 Mercedes. Purchases totaling $37,000 at Louis V, Chanel, Burberry, Gucci, Christian Louboutin, and Yves Saint Laurent. So I probably butchered all those names, but you know what I'm talking about. So a total of at least 160,000 of the proceeds were transferred to the Alchemy Marketplace, which is another company that he owns, and that's in international accounts, right? So he pled guilty to 4 fraud counts at a virtual hearing, and he has a sentencing date of August 3rd. So he was arrested last year, and he pled guilty, I think, sometime this year in April. And so he faces prison sentence in the range of 7 years, according to the plea agreement. And theoretically, it's a maximum of 80 years. So I don't care what anyone says or what's coming out of the sentencing. It does not give you a right to do these kind of crimes, okay? So 7 years might seem like a slap on the wrist, but that all depends on what the judge states, right? But this guy is having like a super crappy year, crappy month, I don't know. But last month, the Securities and Exchange Commission, so the SEC, they filed a case on him because he had another company where he did investments and took money from investors. So he raised about $404,000 and misused 300,000 of it, where he pitched investors on a blockchain based platform. So he did some kind of proposal about blockchain. So blockchain is like all part of like that whole virtual currency world. So you can look it up and see what his proposal was about, but it was a platform for student loans and other lending. But it was never operational, right? So he took these investor funds, made material statements to these people, and then he just spent $300,000 off the money, right? And so he's facing a lawsuit also from the SEC. So it seems like he will also have to be charged in that case. I mean, he's in jail right now, so they could like take their time, but he's still gonna be charged. So I'm just saying, like, don't do this, guys. Like, it's really crazy that this is, what it's turning into is just like one big fraud market. And a lot of people are speculating, like, if it's one big setup. Like, we don't know. If you feel you've been a victim of PPP fraud, where you asked someone to apply for you and you got the funds and it was like a whole lot of funds, and maybe the person who applied for you got a cut, you want to contact an attorney. Please do not come into YouTube or Facebook and seek advice in the comments section. Please contact an attorney. That's the only way you're going to know like what your options are. You could pay the money back, but no one knows if you won't still be charged for anything. You know what I mean? So yeah, that was this week's episode. I hope you are enjoying the stories. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you next week.